Yeah, I felt compelled to make this video with an Anguilla focus, of course. You know, I love Anguilla. I love Anguilla. Love the life, understand the life. And here's what I came up with. I thought about this and I said to myself, Finland has the best educational system in the world. They don't test children until the age of 16. And they outperform every country in Europe, including them, and America. Yeah? And it's because they've chosen a strategy to work together rather than to compete. Now, we have a small little island here. I say small little, I know that's redundant, but it's just emphasis. So we have this little island, and we have few students. We have one secondary school, but we have such a competitive spirit that competitive spirit comes straight out of school, and it's the focus of life on the ground as well. And because people are taught so strongly to be competitive that they would be bright and dumb, because there is that focus and emphasis, there is no growth. There is no coming together of groups. I think I did a video about 10 Indian guys and working together. There's no coming together of these groups, and it's because it's nurtured. That concept of competition and greed is nurtured through our schooling. Now, with a population of 14,000 people, maybe 5,000 students throughout the island, no, I wouldn't say so. Let's say maybe 2,500 students throughout the island. I don't know, but let's say it's that. I would like to think that we would all say Anguilla is a unique place with unique people. So if it's a unique place with unique people, then the entire world should have ambassadors from Anguilla. And every one of us counts because our population in comparison to the world is insignificant. So why don't we nurture a concept of working together rather than a concept of inner competition, a house competing against itself? You may have someone who is book smart, and then you have someone who is technical. But in a schooling system where it's competitive, the one who's book smart is given precedent over the one who's technical. Therefore, for the most part, the person who's technical falls behind because there is no emphasis, no focus to actually bring them up. And the person who's book smart comes back to Anguilla after their time in studying, achieving these great grades, and they can contribute very little to the island. And I'm going to say it because the reality is, if our book smart was so book smart, why is Anguilla in the state that it's in? We need all of our population working together, and we need to stop sectorizing the population into smart and dumb people. We need to stop that at school and create more teamwork. And if we create more teamwork, and if we start creating that teamwork, we will see that reflected in industry in time to come. Right now, it's not reflected at all. So people who don't know that they don't know, and they're not letting anyone know that they don't know. So they're never going to learn. They're never going to know anything different. Our students need to work together. We need to nurture that straight from primary school. We need to start to create a lot more group assignments to work together. When you reach on to university level, it's compulsory to do group work. It's compulsory. You don't even have a choice. And most people who are brought up in the European systems or in American systems learn the concept of group works, but we in the Caribbean, I certainly speak for Anguilla in my time in schooling, we did very little group work, extremely very little group work. And even when we did group work, it was one person competing against the other, and that was nurtured by teachers. Let us get away from this competitive nature, get towards the nature of working together. I mean, we are smart enough to be able to strategize our future. We don't need a mandate to come from Britain or somewhere else in Europe or Canada to tell us, listen, guys, work together. We can strategize that. We can implement that in our schools. Don't tell me our curriculum is so rigid. Don't tell me we are so controlled that we must teach the strategy that's sent here for us to teach. We have to use our wisdom and start to do a lot more group working and start to remove this competitive strategy that we've been using in Angola for decades. Remove that. Get kids working together. Get kids expressing themselves as part of a group so that when they come into industry, they're not trying to cut each other throat just to save their job. You see, once you're well-rounded, you don't need to fight to save your job. And most people on our island fight. They betray their colleagues, their work colleagues constantly. I've worked in Angola. And I mean, there's some of the things that reported back to me as a manager, some of the stuff that was reported back to me by line staff who only intend to destroy the character of their colleague in order that their job would be more secure. We need to stop that. And it needs to be addressed. So schools, wise up, rise up. And let's start to do what we got to do. Because we are wise. We are wise people. So let's use some of that wisdom and start to make a future for Anguilla and Anguillians.